Welcome to this week's edition of the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off. Now from Columbus, here is the OHSAA Radio Network's Marty Bannister.
By the end of this week, girls basketball district champions will be crowned, while the boys will have started the tournament trail with sectional play, and they look ahead to district action. We welcome you to this week's edition of the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show. I'm Marty Bannister, and together with our guests, we'll spend the next 30 minutes setting the scene for high school hoops all around the great state of Ohio. The Ohio High School Athletic Association has a mountain of work to do each season when it comes to conducting statewide tournaments. In this show, we'll sit down with OHSAA Director of Officiating and Sports Management, Bo Rugg, to find out what it's like for the OHSAA to climb that mountain each season. And we'll get reports from broadcasters around Ohio to get an update on the top teams in their area. But before we do that, let's step aside for a break for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. This is the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show.
Ready?
It doesn't matter if you're playing hard or working hard. Your workout only works out if you recover right.
Recover.
Chocolate milk helps you recover for what comes next. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles.
Ready? Recover. Repeat. Chocolate Milk, the official beverage of high school sports, is brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast.
The OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show is brought to you by the OHSAA Radio Network, which will broadcast every game from the girls and boys state basketball tournaments in March at the University of Dayton Arena. The girls state tournament is March 14th through the 16th, while the boys state tournament is March 22nd through the 24th, again at the UD Arena. In addition to radio network coverage, every game from the girls and boys state basketball tournaments will be covered by Spectrum, with streaming coverage at OHSAA.tv and the championship games live on Spectrum News Channel 1. We focus on basketball on this show, but of course the OHSAA is about much more than basketball. There are 28 sanctioned sports under the umbrella of the OHSAA. And while the basketball district and regional tournaments are happening around the state, the OHSAA is conducting state tournaments in swimming and diving, bowling, gymnastics, wrestling, and ice hockey. We recently sat down with OHSAA Director of Officiating and Sports Management, Bo Rugg, to go inside the OHSAA's process for pulling all of this off. Bo, we're in tournament time now with everything starting to ramp up towards basketball right now. Talk about this time of the year and the other tournaments that go on. It's a very busy time for the OHSAA.
It really is. It's the most fun time, even though it's very busy. But yeah, for us, especially in the officiating department, we're getting ready for all the sports that are officiated during tournament time, and so it's wrestling is ramping up pretty hard right now. Their draw's coming up. Obviously, girls basketball, then boys basketball, and ice hockey, and so we're just trying to keep everything going in the right direction. And but we start the process so early that we're ready for this, and now it gets to we need to start playing some games, and any changes it's not as hard. So
you and I talked back in the fall during football about the increase in the number of online classes being offered now in schools to help build the number of officials and folks who want to be officials. Give us an update on that. How is that going right now?
Well, from the aspect of actually taking the class and the classes being available, that our goal was 24/7, 365. You can get online, and I'm watching the Super Bowl, and I might want to be an official. I can get online. I can take that. That's exceeded probably all our expectations. We have over 50 schools that are teaching as part of their curricula. So that's the other part of this, is we're trying to get that younger group to stay in their sport, their passion for their sport, that there's something after they get done playing. So that's really good. Our challenges now are taking from those people that are actually taking the online courses, getting them some experience, and then getting them on the field, court, pool, wherever, diamond. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're working really hard on.
Do you see the numbers, Bo? Are there more former players taking part in these classes now, or individuals who have played a sport who want to try and become an official in these sports?
Yeah, I get some emails and pictures and texts from people all the time, and I know Curtis Enos is out there officiating basketball, and so it's like, I think they're realizing, hey, I can stay involved and do this, and that's a good thing for us. I think we'll reap the benefits of the high school classes in the future, but that's bleeding into others that are getting involved. And I mean, our numbers rose last year. I expect that they'll rise again this year, and that's a trend that we want. We just want that trend to be this way rather than this way.
Because it's been a number that, until the last couple of years, it started to decline for you, hadn't it?
Correct. And it was declining, and then we hit a big blip, 7, 8, 9%, which when you're talking 15,000 officials, that's a lot in the COVID. And then, after COVID down, and now we're starting to blip back up. And so we're past where we were pre-COVID, and if we just keep rising, it'll only get better.
And this is also an important time of year, not only with the state tournaments going on, but it's an important time for officials right now as you start to get the crew set when you look ahead to these state tournaments. Take us through that process. How does that work for the various sports?
Yeah, we have a matrix that we use that puts officials into a pool. So their composite is based on coaches, schools, local associations, and stakeholder category, people like me and signers and observers, and that gives them a composite score. That composite score puts them in a pool, state, regional pool, or sectional district pool. And that gives the assigner for those sports the opportunity to choose them. Someone's still got to choose. I mean, you're not going to get out of that because data is data. Data helps us group people, but at the end of the day, the district assigners need to choose who they're going to put on their games, and the regional and state assigners need to choose who they're going to put on their games. And that process really starts months in advance of the actual tournaments. Our data is a year behind, so we work with that data and going to it. That's the beauty of it. The data can be one thing, but you can have data from last year. I'm choosing for this year, and Bo Rugg didn't have a very good year. Even though he's in the pool, I might not choose him for a regional or state this year.
And that's the goal, is to get the best officials at these events.
Correct.
Absolutely. It's also that time of the year. I know basketball is on the forefront of everybody's mind right now, but as we all know, we're not that far away from August when football starts. What's the timeline like right now as you look ahead, one of your sports, of course, football, as you look ahead to the fall?
Well, interestingly, basketball also, but football is a year-round thing in Ohio, as you know, and in fact, just next Wednesday, I'll be meeting with the Coaches Association Tournament Committee. They have a committee that's made up of some of their people that's really where all Fridays came out of last year. They'll have some suggestions. We'll talk about some of their ideas, and I'll inform them of some of the things that are happening. And so I might get something out of that. We just had last month the National Rules Committee meetings. So those things, I'm trying to update people on those. Not much going for this year. That's good. The game's in a pretty good place, I think. And so we're thinking about that. And you know what? On the officiating end, we're thinking about that already. Who are we looking at? We start really in last season's tournament of saying, who are we preparing for the next level in this? We have to do a good job. We do that in basketball. And our districts need to help us in basketball, because in football, we do it all from here. Our districts need to help us as who are you getting experience down there that are going to be our regional officials next year. In football, it's the same thing. You got 2 or 3 games this year in football. Are you ready to do that state semifinal? Are you ready for that final? That's what we do. We think about last season, watch them during the tournament, and then early season this year, it'll confirm what we want to do or not do. So, yeah, there's a lot happening all year round.
And you're right, football is a year-round sport, or so it seems. Always a pleasure, Bo. Thanks for your time.
Happy to be here.
We would like to thank Bo Rugg for his time on this week's show. Now we'll allow our local stations to share a few messages from their local sponsors. And when we come back, we'll hear from several broadcasters around Ohio with updates from their area. This is the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show.
Here, 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 even here. never here. Phones down. It's the law. Fines start at $150. Here. 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 Even here. Never here. Phones down. It's the law. Fines start at $150.
Welcome back to this edition of the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show. I'm Marty Bannister. A reminder that statewide brackets for all 64 district tournaments for both the girls and boys are posted on the OHSAA basketball pages at ohsaa.org. And tickets for all tournament games are available online at ohsaa.org/tickets. Now let's welcome in broadcasters from around the state to talk about the top teams in their area. Let's start in Cincinnati. Here's WXIX TV's Jeremy Rao and Joe Danneman.
The big talker in Cincinnati is if one of our big schools can break through this season. It's 5 years since Moeller won back-to-back state championships. Feels, Jeremy, like a big chance for Big Mo to break this mini drought here in Cincinnati.
Joe, only one loss all season for Moeller. Won't be easy to win their regional. Elder is top 10 in the state, and Sycamore, led by big man Purdue commit Raleigh Burgess, they look extremely dangerous.
So Wyoming is top 5 in Division II around here. They're so young. Might be a year ahead of schedule, but remember this Wyoming team. They'll be a state factor the next several years in Division II.
Hands down, the most dominant team in town is the two-time defending state champs at Purcell Marion, man. Led by Miss Basketball, D. Alexander. The Lady Cavs are just 1 point from a perfect season. They are number 1 in Division II.
Division I is loaded here this season. Mason, Mount Notre Dame, and defending state champion Princeton are all top 10 in the final state rankings, hoping to make a deep run.
I'm feeling it, man. A very good chance Cincinnati brings back multiple state titles a second straight year.
For Fox 19 now in Cincinnati, he is Jeremy Rao. I'm Joe Danneman for the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's go from one corner of the state to the other. Here's Matt Gould from Cleveland.com.
This is Matt Gould at Cleveland.com, the Plain Dealer, looking at the teams from Northeast Ohio with a shot to get to Dayton in the OHSAA Boys Basketball Tournament. Let's start in Division I, where we have 6 districts that branch into 2 different regions, 2 teams that could potentially get to Dayton in 2 separate games in the state semifinals. We'll start with the all-Northeast region and those districts in Cleveland, St. Ignatius, which is the number 1 overall seed from those 6 districts in the Northeast. Coach Cam Joyce, he has a shot to get his squad down to Dayton for the 3rd time in the last 4 years. A new-look squad at guard with Quinn Wadke, one of their talented juniors. Damon Fryery, a big 6'10 forward, also a junior. Those are guys who weren't in the lineup the last time St. Ignatius made a deep run. They are a heavy favorite to get down there. So is Garfield Heights, which could have a different path. They might have to go through St. Vincent, St. Mary, North Royalton, teams like that in their own district, potentially meeting up with defending state champion Archbishop Hoban in the Akron-Toledo region if they can get that far. But man, do they have a talented squad. Coach Sonny Johnson has a Mr. Basketball candidate in his sophomore son, Marcus Johnson, who is averaging almost 24 points a game. Big performances against Huntington Prep and Western Reserve Academy this year. That's a team to watch out for. Their only loss was to Lutheran West, which is a heavy favorite in Division II. Coach Jordan Duke's Longhorns got to the finals last year, lost on a last-second shot that had to be reviewed against Akron-Buchtel for the state championship. Division III, another Mr. Basketball candidate. I mentioned Marcus Johnson. Jesse McCullough leads defending state champion Lutheran East in Division III. They are a heavy favorite to get back down to Dayton. And in Division IV, I kind of wonder, will we see a rematch between Richmond Heights and Russia? Russia gave Richmond its toughest push on the whole tournament last year, and Richmond brings back all 5 starters, trying to get back down and defend their title. Looking at some of the top teams in Northeast Ohio that have a shot to get to Dayton for the OHSAA Girls Basketball Tournament. We got to start in Division I. 2 teams that finished right at the 8, 9, and 10 spots in the final AP state poll would be Archbishop Hoban and Olmsted Falls. First on Falls, real quick, if we could. Danielle Cameron is their leading scorer this season, averaging 20 points, leading a team that's pretty much a new-look squad from last year's run to the finals. but they got a shot to get back down there again. Jordan Eaton's team, always tough. Two other teams to keep an eye on, Rocky River Magnificat, which has been one of the most balanced teams this season under Coach Danny Gallagher, our number one ranked team in Cleveland for much of the season, but the team that finished the regular season as the number one team, a squad to watch out for years to come, Lyndhurst Brush. They were 19-3 going into the tournament, but they have two freshman guards in Tatiana Mason and Shanaira McDowell Isaacs. Keep an eye on them. Looking over at Division II, got to start with Laurel. They've got the top sophomore, one of the top sophomores in the country in Sanaya Hall. She leads the Gators, who are 12-10, but a really tough schedule that should pay some dividends on this tournament run. Also, you got to look at Copley with Izzy Calloway. They just suffered a late season loss to Gilmore, which is another team to watch. Kevin Byrne leading the Lancers after getting Walsh Jesuit to the boys regional finals in Division I last year. He's now leading the girls at Gilmore. St. Vincent St. Mary, another team in Division II to watch out for. Carly Whitney's squad has been one of the most consistent in the area up here. And also, let's look at Division III real quick. Undefeated LaGrange Keystone. Many multi-sport athlete kids there, led by Brooklyn Barber. Warrensville Heights, defense travels. They like to press the ball, force you into turnovers. And then Richmond Heights in Division IV, 16-4 going into the tournament. Those are some of the teams to watch out for on the road to Dayton.
Now let's get a boys basketball report from Central Ohio. Here's Chris Solwecki from the OHSAA Radio Network.
Thanks very much, Marty. Here we go with Central District matchups in boys basketball. The top seed in Division I, Columbus 1, is number 5, Hilliard Bradley. They have a chance of seeing number 7, Pataskala Licking Heights in the district semifinals. Hilliard Bradley opens up with Columbus Briggs, while Licking Heights will open their playoff push against Groveport Madison. In Division II, Central 1, number 3, Bishop Ready out of Columbus is the top seeded team, but the Silver Knights have gone 3-3 in their final 6 games, so keep an eye out for number 4, Bloom Carroll, number 5, Bishop Watterson, as all three are in that Central 1 bracket. In Division 3, Central 2, Richwood North Union is the number 2 seed. The Wildcats are 17-10 overall, but just 2-2 in their last 4 games. They're coupled with number 3, Harvest Prep out of Canal Winchester, and number 7, Heath in that same bracket. So the competition can be fierce in Central 2 of Division 3. And in Division 4, Central 1, that bracket is loaded as number 2, Shekinah Christian out of Plain City is the top seed in that bracket, but they are joined by seeds 5, Tree of Life Christian out of Columbus, 6, Fisher Catholic out of Lancaster, 7, Fairfield Christian Academy also out of Lancaster, and 8, the Wellington School out of Columbus. One game to watch in that district is number 5, Tree of Life versus number 10, Delaware Christian. The boys in the Central District are just getting started, so go to the OHSAA.org, find a site where action is happening, and go there ASAP. What a great time to be a fan. For the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show, I'm Chris Solwecki.
Now let's head down along the Ohio River to Portsmouth. Here's Mark Williams from WNXT Radio.
Teams from Scioto County and Lawrence County are well represented as the road to Dayton moves to the Convocation Center in Athens for district tournament play. In Division IV, top-seeded South Webster takes on fellow SOC foe Sims Valley. Jeeps legendary coach Norm Pearson is 2 wins away from 800 for his career. The Jeeps are 20-3 and riding high as they head to the Convo. Portsmouth Notre Dame will face off against perennial power Trimble, which could potentially set up a rematch with South Webster in the district title. Notre Dame won the matchup in the regular season and bounced the Jeeps from the tournament last year. In Division III, top-seeded Wheelersburg will face off against a very good South Point team out of the OVC. Wheelersburg has dynamic scorer Devin Lattimore, who can put the ball in the basket in a variety of different ways. South Point is led by Caleb Lovely, who is the all-time leading scorer for the Pointers. The Northwest Mohawks have not been to the Convo since 2011. They will get the chance of a lifetime as they try to take down the Portsmouth Trojans and their storied program. Portsmouth alum Jeff Lyseth is back and has turned the Trojans into a cohesive unit that will definitely be a tough out. Second-seeded Minford will come to Athens on a mission after an early ouster last year, led by the junior trio of Miles Montgomery, Bennett Kaiser, and Jackson Shoemaker. But the task will not be easy as they tangle with the Fairland Dragons, who have long been the gold standard in the OVC. And in the nightcap on Sunday, the North Adams Green Devils will take on the Ironton Fighting Tigers, who crashed the party by knocking out 6th-seeded Chesapeake. I'm Mark Williams for the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show.
Moving up to Toledo, here's BCSN's Mark Coons.
Plenty of excitement in Northwest Ohio for the start of the boys basketball postseason. Findlay Trojans, top seed in Division I, coming off their first league championship in close to 15 years as they won the NLL's Buckeye Division. They opened Friday night against Waite Trojans, 5th in the final AP poll. Whitmer, ranked 7th in that poll, runners-up in the Buckeye, will be home Friday night as well. St. John, state semifinalists a season ago, they'll open up the postseason Friday night with a home game. Titans a tough regular season in Detroit's highly touted Catholic High School League, just 5-4 in league play, but 14-8 overall. Another game to keep an eye on, Saturday sectional final at Perrysburg. Yellow Jackets' Dave Boyce sitting on 599 career wins as they host Clay. Eagles with a resurgent season under first-year head coach Lionel Armstead. In Division IV, Toledo Christian finished the year as the #1 team in the AP poll. Chance for a special year for the Eagles, who have 4 starters averaging double figures. They ride a 17-game winning streak into the postseason. Girls hoops, Anthony Wayne, heavy favorites in the Division I district. Generals have been on fire of late, winners of 16 in a row, heading into Thursday's district semifinal against Wapakoneta. We'll have plenty of highlights and analysis all Friday night long on BCSN's Game Day Nation and online at bcsnnation.com. For the OHSAA Tip-Off Show, I'm Mark Kuntz from BCSN.
Let's come back to Central Ohio now in the Central District. And on the girls' side, here's Angie Sater and Candace Allen from Ohio Prep Girls and Girls Only Hoops.
In Division III Central 1, last night Afrocentric won convincingly against West Jefferson 89-30. And Centerburg battled against Cardington Lincoln as well. Centerburg came out on top, winning 48-36. Afrocentric, who's the #2 seed, and Centerburg, who's #5 seed, will play against each other at 6 p.m. at Capital University this Thursday for the district champion. Also in Division III Central 2, the #1 seed Mechanicsburg beat Johnstown, who was the 7th seed last night, with a score of 55-54. And Canal Winchester Harvest Prep is moving on after defeating #4 seed Marion Pleasant 62-59. Mechanicsburg will compete against Harvest Prep on Thursday night, and the winner becomes Central 2 district champion. In Division IV tonight, Fisher Catholic will go head-to-head against Danville. Both of these teams have had success in the tournament in years prior. And the #1 seed, Newark Catholic, will play against the #6 seed, Mount Gilead. Winners of both matches will play on March 1st for the Central 1 district champion and will move on to regionals. All of these games should be dandies. From Prep Girls Hoops, I'm Angie Sater.
And now in Division II, the Central 2 district semifinals. Bloom Carroll, a 4th seed, will take on Jonathan Alter, a 5th, and then Buckeye Valley, a 2 seed with only 2 losses this season, will face off against River Valley, an 8th seed. 2 exciting matchups. And now in Division I, the Central 1 district semifinals. Upper Arlington, seeded 6th with only 3 losses this year, will take on Westerville South, a 12th seed who last year captured a district title. And lastly, Reynoldsburg, a 7th seed, looks to continue their streak of district final appearances, will take on the 2 seed Olentangy, who had to get by a really tough Hilliard Derby team. They're 22-1 on the season. This should be a really good matchup. Good luck the rest of the way. I'm Candace Allen.
And here is our Southeast Ohio report from Marietta. From WMOA 1490, here's Aaron Cassidy.
Thanks, Marty. We'll start in Division II for the ladies' side of things in Southeast Ohio. They're about a week ahead of everyone else around the state. Fairland, they're victorious 69-40 over the Warren Lady Warriors. They will play in a district final now as they will play Uni Odo. Again, actually, all 3 of these divisions, 2, 3, and 4, will be district final games. As Portsmouth moves on, 73-41, they will play Minford. Portsmouth West, victorious. They will play 9th-seeded Federal Hocking. Division 4 for the ladies, the Waterford Lady Wildcats continue to cruise. Their new opponent will be Siamese Valley. And then also it'll be 2nd-seeded Notre Dame in Southeast Ohio, playing 3rd-seeded South Gallia. We'll move to the boys' side of things in Division 2. These are actually district semifinal games being played at the Convo. The Marietta Tigers in Division 2, the top seed there, they will play New Lexington, who's the #4 seed. The Warren Warriors, they advance as the #2 seed. They will play upset-minded #14 ranked Logan Elm. That game, again, will be at the Convocation Center. Division 3, #1 seeded Wheelersburg will play 8th seeded South Points, and then it'll be #2 Minford taking on number 7 Fairland. Finally, in Division 4 for the boys' side of things in Southeast Ohio, it'll be number 1 South Webster taking on Siamese Valley on the boys' side. And then also 2 Southeast Ohio teams that are left here in a district semifinal game. It'll be Federal Hawking and the Waterford Wildcats. Reporting for the southeast part of the state for the OHSAA Radio Network and WMOA out of Marietta, I'm Aaron Cassidy.
And we'd like to thank all those broadcasters for their reports. We're going to take one final break for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. And when we come back, we'll wrap up this edition of the OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show.
At the Ohio High School Athletic Association, our student athletes are going pro at being
coachable,
a good student,
responsible,
dependable,
respectful.
I'm going pro at being
a good student,
a good student,
a good teammate,
responsible.
I'm going pro at being
coachable,
a good student,
dependable,
a good teammate,
representing my school.
I'm going pro at being
a good student,
a good student,
responsible.
Let's go pro at respecting the game.
Respect the game.
Respect the game.
Respect the game. Respect the game.
Respect the game.
We would like to thank Bo Rugg for his time to be featured on this week's show, as well as the broadcasters who submitted regional reports for this week's program, along with all of the OHSAA Radio Network affiliates. On behalf of the Ohio High School Athletic Association, I'm Marty Bannister. Technical and production assistance provided by Adam Dell and Yamo Media. The OHSAA Tournament Tip-Off Show is a production of the OHSAA Radio Network. We'll talk to you next week.